Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to allow folks to log in. My name is John Mayfield, and got a great group of agents that have signed up for the webinar. So I'm very excited. We are way over 200 participants. So thank you for your support. And hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can, you have a little virtual hand you can wave. I'm sure we are all getting used to the meetings by now. Thank you. I see some of the virtual hands going up, so I appreciate that. Well, again, while folks are logging in, I want to just give you a couple of side notes. First and foremost, I am recording the session, so I'll make sure that your association or your company gets a copy of the webinar so you can rewatch this. Secondly, I want to let you know I'm not here to sell anything, okay? I'm just giving back to my realtor family and other colleagues that I work with around the world. And so I want you to know this is, there's no selling going on throughout this webinar. I just want to show you some tools that I think will benefit you and help you in learning to adapt and change in this new online environment that we're in. So I'm going to show you a lot of tech tools, and we'll also put together a list of these tech tools. I've been doing webinars the last couple of weeks. I made an offer on the National Realtors Hub. Most of you are probably familiar with that. And the response was overwhelming. So I've been doing like 3 and 4 webinars today. This is the third one I'm on today. And I do have some hot tea in case I have to take a quick drink in between sessions, but I appreciate the opportunity, and I just want to let you know that I am recording this, not selling anything, not harvesting any email addresses, and all of the tech tools I show you, I do not make any money off anything that I'm showing you. I pay for those myself, so as well. So I'm a real estate agent, a real estate broker, actually. I've been a broker since 1978 at the age of 18. That's right, you can do the math, but real estate's all I've ever known. I'll tell you a little bit about myself as we go through the presentation. It will be mainly PowerPoint with a lot of tools and ideas. However, I am going to jump out of the PowerPoint from time to time and actually show you some things from my computer screen. So we're going to make it a combination, very interactive, and I want you to ask questions. We'll make sure we get to those at the end and go from there. So last thing I will mention is it is technology. And if for some reason I disappear, don't go anywhere. I'll probably pop right back in. My internet's actually been doing pretty good, but last week there was an overload, and you never know if it's the Zoom meeting or if it's my internet. But if I happen to disappear, just stay put. I'll probably come right back in. If sometimes I know folks will say, well, a lot of people will say they can hear me fine. Some people might say, well, you're breaking up a little bit. And again, that just could be from the overuse of the internet, possibly from your provider, could be from my provider, but hopefully everything will go good and we'll have a great time. So again, thanks for logging in. We've got a good group of folks on, so we're going to get started. And I'm going to go through a few items with you here. So again, I mentioned I've had my real estate license since 1978 at the age of 18. I own 3 offices and I've had 40 plus agents working for me. I'm in a small rural community south of St. Louis, Missouri. And in 2007, actually it was 2006, I actually sold my real estate office. My wife and I had purchased a pick-your-own blueberry blackberry farm, and we were having just a great time running this farm. And I actually had a friend of mine who wanted me to go to work for his bank, and they wanted to put a bank in my local area. So my wife and I sell our real estate office. We had owned this farm. We built our dream home. And on 2007, April the 7th, it's odd, Yesterday, I did 4 webinars, and I always start with that. It was April 7th, 2007, that my world was literally turned upside down. And I didn't realize, but yesterday was April 7th. So it was 13 years ago yesterday. But my world was literally turned upside down, kind of like what's happening right now for you and I. And I have to be honest with you, I really wanted to quit. I mean, I did. Things just seemed to be in a whole different world than what I had expected. And and I'll kind of share with you what happened during that time period. But I literally, and I just realized I'm doing okay. I thought maybe I'd started on the wrong slide there, but I needed help. It was a huge situation in my life, and I really didn't know which way to turn. And so, what happened on April the 7th, 2007, I'm going to share with you as we go through this presentation. But just to kind of bring you up to speed, I went to work for this bank, and the bank actually was on this thing called the watch list. Now, in 2007, the economy was tanking, things weren't doing very well. And here I have gone to work for a bank, sold my company, and this event happens on 2007, and literally I didn't know which way to turn. I felt like my life, as I mentioned, was just turned upside down, and I wanted to quit, but I knew I couldn't quit. I knew that was something I couldn't do. So I had to pick up the pieces and move forward. And I'm just telling you this story because really it was kind of like the perfect storm at that time in my life. And most of us were going along, things are going fine, and then all of a sudden we're trapped at home. We can't do a whole lot of things. So as I went through my life and as I started figuring out, well, what can I do? What can I do to move forward? I knew there were several things I had uh, to apply in my life. And one was what I always told my real estate agents when we would do business planning for the coming year. I always told them, if you want to take your business to another level, to a new level, or a new, your career to a different and a better place, you've got to do something different. You can't keep doing the same things you're doing and expecting different results. The other thing I knew that would happen throughout this whole situation is that I was going to have a lot of heartache and there would be some troubled times. But I knew if I persevered, I knew if I worked hard, I could get to success. And I also knew what was really refreshing for me is that I could pull out this clean sheet of paper and a fresh set of paints, and I could recreate myself in a whole new way. Now, things were really crashing in on me in April of 2007, but I want you to know there was something refreshing about getting to start over, getting to, try some different things. And I think we're kind of at that crossroads right now, personally, in our real estate history. I mean, real estate as we know it may never be the same. I was on a call today with a bunch of global folks, and the speaker to me was very gloom and doom and pessimistic. And I really believe the exact opposite. I think people are going to have faith in the economy. People are going to get back in. And I think we're going to see more opportunities in real estate than we've ever seen. Now, I do think we'll have to practice differently as real estate professionals. And that's why I want to show you some of the tools today, because I think if you incorporate these, I know without a doubt, you're going to be able to make some things happen. So even though there might be a crisis, there's going to be opportunity. And I think we're going to be able to have some great ways to utilize and use technology as we move forward. That's exactly what I did in April 2007. I had to really take a look at, okay, if I'm going to recreate myself, if I'm going to have this blank canvas and I'm going to paint something new for John Mayfield, what is it that I can do? And I had to really look at my life and say, okay, what do you have a passion for and what are you good at? I had to find that sweet spot where there was passion and what I was good at. And I knew if I could merge those two together, I could make some things happen. And I did. I was over $1 million in debt. I basically had no job. I had signed a non-compete clause, the only thing I'd ever done since 2000 or since 1978. And I had to do some things to help my family and I survive. And so I want to share with you some of the technology tools I used back then and I'm still using today, as well as some new tools that I think will help you grow your real estate business, even though you might be confined from home. But more importantly, because I think this is what we're going to need to do in the future as we move forward. So let's talk about video. Let's talk about YouTube. A lot of us are familiar with YouTube. Probably most of us on this call have uploaded videos to our YouTube channel. Did you know that if you have a Google account, you also have a YouTube channel? That's right. But I don't think we're utilizing our YouTube channels correctly. What I want you to think about is that you not only have a YouTube channel, you have your own television station. I tell this story about being in Florida and I was speaking at a global international conference and a lady came up to me afterwards and she said, I have someone you have to meet. Now, first of all, I said, well, thank you, but I'm married. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I meant I have somebody that you need to talk to. And she introduced me to a gentleman who's a manager of a local television station there, the largest ABC affiliate on that coast of Florida. He takes me on a tour of his station. We look around, we stop in the middle of our tour, and he says, John, look around at this place. So I'm looking around, and he says to me, as he grabbed my shoulder, I have millions, John, millions of dollars invested in this television station. And you could do this from your own living room. Well, it dawned on me, I have 2 daughters, late 20s. Neither one of them have cable TV. They both stream everything. And I realized the power of YouTube, which, by the way, is free, and how you can have your own television channel. That's right, your own television channel. So I use a program called Switcher Studio. I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you how I leverage Switcher Studio, but it's an amazing tool, and it allows me to be able to use Switcher Studio and my real estate school, because I run an online real estate school now. I also still have a real estate office, and I also do a lot of technology training. So let me kind of jump out of here real quickly, and I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to go out and share with you my desktop. So we're going to do that, and I am going to turn my video camera off for just a second here, and I want to show you my desktop. So first thing I want to share with you here is my real estate school television channel. And if you go to helpmepasstherealestateexam.com, you'll notice that you come right here to my YouTube television channel. Now notice it shows that we're offline right now. But at 4 o'clock today, Central Standard Time, I will be going live for my real estate school students. I can show you yesterday's session because I haven't gone and I haven't go over here to my videos. So yesterday, I actually did a live streaming, and it was on the do not call list right here. So yesterday, this is the broadcast from me. Now notice I'm using Switcher Studio, so as we go through this, I can actually go to my screen on my computer, or I can put graphics up along the bottom. I can go to another television angle. It is like having your own television channel, and it's all done through YouTube or Facebook Live. I can even go to LinkedIn Live, and I can even embed this on my website. Now, let me show you something else. If you go to www.businesstechguytv.com, Business Tech Guy is my web channel, or is my website, but businesstechguytv.com is my YouTube television channel. Now again, YouTube's free, so you get a live streaming television channel, and it has a great big long web address, and all I do is forward this to, let me back up. I go to GoDaddy, and like yesterday, I was sharing with the people from Miami, and I said, MiamiHomeVideos.com. It was available, and someone bought it right after that. But you find a domain name, and then you forward that to your YouTube channel. This way, you only have to use that custom domain name in order to send people right to the website you want. Now, there's a couple of reasons I wanted to show you this. Number one, I want to show you that you ought to leverage YouTube, and you ought to leverage the idea to have a YouTube channel, and you should leverage a custom domain name. I have I have lots of custom domain names. One is getyourvaloan.com, and notice I point this right to my website, where viewers can watch a webinar we did on how to get a VA loan. And I'm going to come back and talk to about that in just a little bit. But I wanted you to see specifically how you can actually use YouTube, and you can create some really cool ways to leverage your own television channel. Now, think about how you could have a monthly or a weekly television program about what's going on in your market area. You could have a television program to show new listings, to interview building inspectors, loan officers, business leaders. I mean, the sky is the limit, and you can do some really cool things. And best of all, it's free. Now, Switcher Studio costs you a little bit of money, but let me show you again one of the quick things here about Switcher Studio. Let me go right here to this screen share right here. And so Switcher Studio, we will go to my keyboard doesn't, there we go. So Switcher Studio actually, it works with iOS devices, Apple, but notice here that you can actually have an iPad, multiple cameras, and you can make this work and feel just like a television program. So you can go out here and check out more about Switcher Studio. I do everything right from my iPhone and my iPad, and I have logos I can put on the bottom of my screen. I mean, it is just really a very cool way to be able to do some great things and do these remotely. So check it out. It's called Switcher Studio, and I think you'll find it just a really neat way to be able to create new content that you can share with social media and some other places. So I'm going to come back over to the PowerPoint now, and we'll pick back up. Just again, it's very interesting. It's like having your own television channel, and I just use it a lot. Now, I'm using it for my real estate school, and what's interesting is I can have multiple cameras set up. And so I have a camera, my whiteboard's right here. I have another place right over there. I do all of this right in the comfort of my basement, but I can literally do some wonderful things with Switcher Studio. Now, I always tell people, find your passion. You know, perhaps maybe you are just a little bit leery about video. But if there's something you're really good at, I think you could take it to a whole different level. Here's a lady who shows how to make dill pickles. I know that seems odd, but you know what? People are searching for information. And if you have a passion, I had some agents in Arkansas, and they loved to fly fish. They incorporated places to fly fish with their real estate. And I'm telling you what, it was off the chart for them. But let's think about it. We love to do business with people we have a passion, you know, that we have something in common with. So if you have a passion, set up a studio like I've done. This was from my older home, but I just set up some places where I could quickly and easily go and do some videos. And I'm telling you what, it has been huge for my real estate school. My students love it, and I see my numbers growing all the time in the various things that I'm doing. By the way, one last thing I do want to mention, when I showed you the businesstechguytv.com, every Friday morning at 11 a.m. Central, so I believe that would be 10 o'clock your time, every morning at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, so that would be 9 o'clock your time, I think, sorry. I am doing live streaming from that channel. It's free, and all of the apps I'm talking about here, we kind of dive in a little bit deeper on those, okay? So again, it's free. I'm not selling anything, but if you see some things I'm doing today and some apps I'm showing, we'll dive in a little bit further on those on Friday. So I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, and you can watch those at any time. Now, let's talk about YouTube and video. And I've been using this app for a long, long time. And it's the YouTube app that you can download for free to your phone. And you'll notice that when you open the YouTube app, there's a little camera up in the top. Well, if you click on the camera, you actually come to the app which says, do you want to record video or do you want to go live? Unfortunately, you cannot go live unless you have 1,000 subscribers on your channel. However, you can record. So let me give you 2 ways I've been using this. Number one, when I get a new listing, I just pull up the YouTube app, hit record, take some video of the outside of the home while I'm telling my viewers that, hey, I just listed this new property at such and such address. It is a great listing. I'm going back to the office right now to put it in the multiple listing service. If you'd like to make an appointment to look at this, give me a call. I'd love to show it to you. It's brand new on the market. Well, when I upload that from the client's driveway, it goes to YouTube. YouTube processes it. In a matter of a minute or two, I get a link that I can copy the link, go over to Facebook, Instagram, some other social media websites I use, and promote that new listing right there on my social media websites. In fact, sometimes my clients will ask me, how quickly will our house be on the internet? And I tell them, I'm going to use my YouTube app and I'm going to go out and shoot some video outside. It's going to be online before I leave your driveway. And they love that. Now, the second way I use this app is similar to how I use BombBomb. I love BombBomb. BombBomb is video email messaging. And what I like about BombBomb is that as people respond, ask me questions or emails, I can respond with a video email. Well, one of the things that I used this for before I had BombBomb, because BombBomb is a paid product that you have to have a subscription you have to pay for. When I first started my real estate school and I didn't have a lot of students, I really didn't want to have to pay for a subscription. So I would just record videos when my students had questions, or if a client or a customer had a question, I would record a video, upload it to YouTube, and here's the key: I would mark the video unlisted. Because it's a personal message, I didn't want anyone to be able to see those. So you mark it unlisted, YouTube gives you the link, and now I can type a message in text or email to my customer or client and say, thanks for reaching out to me. That's a great question, and I've responded by making you a video email message. Just click on the link below to watch my message. And I'm telling you what, my people absolutely loved it. And so I was able to use the YouTube app to do video emails like BombBomb, and it's absolutely free. So great way for you to think about how you can leverage that YouTube app. So don't forget, you have your own YouTube television channel you can create. You can use the YouTube app to promote your properties and use it as video email messaging. And you've also got your phone to help you do IGTV, Instagram. They've got their own television channel. So here we are with video, video, video. And I know some people may say, I don't want to do video, John. It's just not for me. You've got to think about where we're at today. We're in this world where we're having to communicate through video messaging, and where consumers are expecting us to be able to show properties remotely and virtually. So videos, you'll get used to it. And I always remember a guy I saw once at a workshop on video, and I never will forget this. He said something that day, and I sat there in my chair and I said, John Mayfield, you have blown it. Because here's what he said, and it really hit home to me. His name was Patrick Almond, and I'll always remember this. He said, done beats perfection every time. And I sat there and I thought, John, you're always trying to be perfect. You're always trying to make your videos just, I look at the video and I think, I don't know if I want to put that up, but done beats perfection every time. You've got to get the content out there. And so Instagram TV, IGTV is another big deal, but I want to give you two suggestions or a couple of ideas here, not only for Instagram, but also when you're creating some videos to put online. First of all, I use this little tool called Swivel. Now, this is kind of expensive. However, it's a great tool. It's kind of like I have my own robotic camera person. So I put my camera in the dock, and that's the swivel part. And then I hold the remote, and the remote has infrared. The swivel, my remote cameraman, robotic camera person, has infrared. So you attach the swivel to a tripod, and now I'm holding the remote, and as I walk around, guess what swivel does? It follows me around the room. So I could be taking video at one of my new listings, and I don't need a camera person because I just put swivel in place, put my camera there, and I hold my remote. And as I walk around and talk about the home, swivel's following me as a remote camera person. And here's the really cool thing. The remote is audio, so I don't even need a microphone because it's picking up my voice, and the audio is amazing using swivel. So that's the first idea I want to tell you about. It's really good for training, but I've got a couple of other ideas I want to share with you on video. And one of them comes right out of Facebook's headquarters. I was at a conference There was a gentleman there from Facebook. He was talking about how big video is. He was really pushing Facebook Live. And I know we get tired of that, but the numbers are huge when you go live on Facebook. I'm going to do a Facebook Live today because I've got some things I need to promote. But Facebook Live is huge. But he told us at this conference, he said, you want to know a secret to putting your videos on steroids? And my ears perked up. He said, add subtitles. So there's a really neat app out there called Apple Clips, and watch what it does when you shoot video. Now, I shot this video in Helsinki, Finland. It was a very busy hotel. There was a lot going on, but as I shot this video, it actually added the subtitles to my video. Now, that's pretty cool, and it only works on Apple devices. However, the one thing I don't like about Apple Clips is you have to hold the button down while you're talking. So why not use a software like iSkySoft, where you just shoot your video and then iSkySoft takes the video and it puts the subtitles on there for you. Very, very cool. However, I found something that's even better, and it's called Capwing. I've been creating a lot of video content for my real estate school, my real estate technology, my office, and some other things. And I've been sharing those on Facebook and LinkedIn. I even tweet those out. But Instagram's a whole nother world. I shoot all of my videos in this format, like this. Instagram wants you to shoot them vertically. Well, when I shoot video vertically for Facebook and other places, it just doesn't look good. So I've been really struggling with, how do I get involved more with IGTV? How do I get more videos on Instagram? And not having to go in and do all this weird reformatting in my video editing software. Capwing, guess what, does that for us. And it's free. It's a free online video editor. So you go into Capwing, you upload it, tell it to reformat it for Instagram, and then guess what? You can also say, add subtitles. Well, now we can put those videos on steroids, because look what Capwing does. Fixes the video perfectly for Instagram and adds your subtitles. So it's a really cool way for you to go and to use an online video editor that's free to create some really amazing videos you can share across all of your social media platforms, and to also include your subtitles. So I've used this, it works. My statistics are so much better when I use subtitles. Now, here's something else, because Instagram's a big social media player. And here's something else you need to think about with Instagram. When you get ready to make a post, down at the bottom, there's a little tab called Advanced Settings. See that? When you select Advanced Settings, there's another option down toward the bottom that says Write Alt Text. When I click that, it gives me the option to write this stuff called alt text. What is that? Well, it serves two functions. Number one, it helps the visually impaired. They want to participate on Instagram, and without alt text, they can't do that. But more importantly, alt text, so you want to describe the picture, you want to add your brand and some keywords, but alt text will help search engines in places like Instagram's algorithm to help your post be found and be more relevant. So it's huge if you want to boost your post and boost all of your pages on the internet. That when you're posting blogs, you've got to consider and incorporate using alt text. Well, I know I'm talking a lot about video and Instagram, and we're doing a Zoom webinar now, and we're talking, here's a Zoom meeting I did with some instructors, and here's a Zoom meeting I did with 64 people from around the world. I did a Zoom meeting today with something like 60 people all over the world: Taiwan, Singapore, Lebanon, France, Mexico. And I'm part of FIOPSI, and it was part of our global, it was part of just a global get together to talk about the market. And this is the way we're conducting business today. My sister has a group she meets with, and they meet at a coffee shop, and they're doing like a book study, and she was so disappointed because the coffee shop's closed and they can't get together. And I said, Linda, you can use Zoom. And she said, Zoom. And so I set her up and her friends on Zoom. They had their book meeting, their book club meeting online on Zoom. They loved it. They can't wait to do the next session. And I tell you that because we're all getting used to this, and we are all going to probably want to do more types of virtual things in the future. Again, I feel very optimistic about the future of our country and the entire world. I think we are all going to bounce back from this. And I believe you have to have that positive optimism. However, I noticed today on the global call, some of the people in other countries still have a little bit of a fear about traveling, about meeting with people in close proximity. And so you and I are going to have to get used to at least being familiar with helping people learn about properties we have listed through an online format. So there are several solutions that you can use, and the National Association of Realtors has a whole selection of these. But think about how you can use video in this new world from your computer to show people about properties that you have. So I want to go back out now. And so I'm going to turn my video camera off, and I'm going to do a new share, and we're going to go back right out here. And so I need to bring that down, and I need to come out here. And the first tool I want to show you is Zillow. And I know there might be some hisses and boos out there, but you know what? They've got some really amazing tools for us. And I want you to see that you have an account with Zillow if you're an agent. And I can actually go up here to I'm going to pull up just a 3D home tour for you very quickly. But look what Zillow will allow you to do with your phone. And any phone will work with this if it's a smartphone. I can take a picture out front. And by the way, look at this. I can show you all around. I can come back here and say, let's go into the foyer. And here's the living room. So I can show you this property right through Zoom. And I could say, let's go out in the backyard because there's a little lake and a walking trail. And you would really love sitting out here underneath the porch. And the great part is the sun comes up over here. In fact, using Zoom, I can use tools just to kind of show you, there are some stamps you can use. And so I'm going to put, the sun comes up over here, and I'll clear the drawings. And then I'm gonna, whoops, I meant to move that around. So I'll come back over here, and the sun sets, the sun actually sets in the evening over here. And so what's really great about this is the fact that on the patio or on the front porch or on the back porch, you're not going to get any evening or morning sun right in your face. Now we can go back in the house from here, and I can continue to take you on a tour of this property. Now let me show you how this works. So I'm going to do a new screen share, and this time I'm going to go to my phone. And by the way, you know, we can actually, if you've got pictures on your phone, sometimes it wants me to install that, and I don't know why, but let's see. I just want to show you how we can get used to using technology. I could actually go up and show you pictures in France, but I'm going to type in 3D, and there's my app, and this is how I begin taking the capture of the properties, and I can set the tour up and go and do more right from that tour. So it is an amazing way for you to be able to create some 3D tours of properties that you have that you can now share with consumers. Now, here's how this works. When you open the app up, you take a picture and you just start turning around. And as you turn around, it will put little blue lines that will tell you it's okay to keep turning. And as it finishes the capture, it uploads it to Zillow, and Zillow processes it. And then it says, where do you want the consumer to go next in the home? So you go to the next spot you want your next picture to be. So I always start from the front of the house and I move into the foyer and then move around. But it's free. And not only is that going to give you good traction with Zillow, but now you're going to have some virtual tours like this that you can take consumers and walk them around the home. So just wanted to share with you that, you know, there are tools out there that we can take advantage of and we can use and share. Now, I did see a chat come in, and I will come to all of those at the conclusion, so don't worry about that if you've typed in a question. We're just in this connected world now, and we have to think about how we can leverage technology to help us grow. One of the tools I've been using is called Linktree, and I use this with all my social media accounts. Linktree there's a free edition, a free version, and Linktree actually allows me to create links to redirect people to either properties I have for sale, virtual open houses, agent open houses. I redirected people today to a webinar. Last week, I redirected people to my live CE classes I was doing in Missouri. And you can set timers and they come on and off. And I want to show you, because it's more, I think it works better if I show you how this works on from my computer desktop. So I'm going to move this down. We're going to come back out here and we're going to go to Instagram. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a little trick for Instagram that a lot of people don't realize. So here I am on Instagram, and you'll notice I can't post at the bottom here, can I? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to View. So go to View, go to Developer, and go to Developer Tools. Now it almost looks like my phone, doesn't it? But I still can't post a video. Well, refresh your page and look what happened. I can now add a picture right from my laptop and post directly from my laptop. Now, what's interesting is that if I go to one of my posts, and this is the one I had for my friend Walid, we did for FIAPSI today, and I'm going to just, I don't know if I can actually blow that up, but if you read right here, and I know that's hard to read, I'm telling about our webinar we did this morning at 9 a.m., and it says registration is in my Linktree bio. Well, if I click on my bio, here's my Linktree bio. Guess what? That link is gone now. But do you see the other links? You can download my podcast. You can click on a product I'm trying to sell for new agents. This is not for any of you. Those are people. If you want to join me for my technology training on Friday, remember I was telling you about, you click on that link, it'll take you right there. So all of these important links, if I want to direct people to my blog, it's right there. Now let me show you something that actually happened here. So I'm going to go to Linktree, because remember I told you we had the FIAPSI webinar? Well, notice there's the ability to say started on this date, ended at this time. Well, our webinar was at 9 a.m. this morning, so I just told Linktree, hey, when the webinar's over, I don't need you to be on my Linktree anymore. The webinar's finished. Does that make sense? So notice, if I turn this on, watch what happens. Now you could go to the link. But I did all of that in the background. So if you have an agent open house, or if you're doing a virtual open house, you can actually say when you want these links to show up and disappear on your Linktree based on when your event or open house is going to be. And we do that because people are nosy. They're stalking us. Did you know, and I want to just bring my camera on for a minute here and stop my screen share. Did you know the #1 page consumers visit on your website after the homepage is about me or about you or about us? Why do they do that? They want to find out more about you. Well, why not use something like Linktree and provide them more than just going to your website or more than just looking at your profile? Why don't you say, here's my YouTube channel here. Here's my blog here. Oh, here's a new listing I have here. Click on this. Hey, by the way, I'm having a virtual open house Facebook Live watch party. Click here to join us. There are so many things you can do with Linktree that it's free. I use the $6 a month version because I'm sold on it, but the free version works just as well. And I'm telling you what, you'll be able to get more traction through your social media using something like Linktree. Okay, back to the PowerPoint we go. And just again, I like to kind of go in and out of my PowerPoints and have some fun and show you in real life how I'm working on these. And don't forget, every Friday, I use Switcher Studio on Friday because I can do some really cool things with Switcher Studio. But on Fridays, we dive into these products. In fact, I spent the last 2 weeks showing all kinds of things you can do with Linktree. So love for you to go out to my channel and check that out for more. But here's something else you could do with Linktree. You could create an active campaign. This is a lot of agents are using this active campaign. It does some interesting things, but you can also go to something like Lead Pages. I use Lead Pages, and it's really a way to create what is called a landing page. What's my home worth? We're going to do a lot more virtual home valuations with RPR. And once I get that user to opt in to use that landing page and request a free booklet or request an evaluation or download my free report, I get their email and their name, and I can set up a campaign to drip market to them over a 1-2 month or 2-year period or however long. It's all about trying to get leads. That's what it's all about. If we're going to use the internet, we need to try to get leads. And you know what? We need to use the right bait. There are 100 billion searches every month, and there will be 7.5 million searches by the time I make this statement. We are in a connected world. People are searching for information, and more importantly, they need help. You know, we're in this disrupted world right now. But then I ask myself, I think the world's always been a little disrupted from time to time. You know, the buggy whip saw its days come and go when the automobile came. And real estate's probably going to change and make a new turn now that we've gone through all of this stuff. In Missouri, they've passed the ability for us to do remote closings. I had a closing Monday. The title company wouldn't even let me go there. Everything was done virtually practically. And I got my check and it closed. So we're in a world of disruption. We're in a world with social media and the ability to do streaming on YouTube, and we've got to have a strategy. We really do. We've got to be different. I love to tell my international groups when I talk to them, you have to be that red leather chair. You've got to be different. You can't be like everybody else. So I use programs like remove.bg. It removes the background. And then I can create interesting graphics using Canva, which by the way has a free version. And it's like your own graphic artist. And now I can really up my social media game. And by the way, I found this website called placeit.net. I love this. It is like allowing me to create magazine style layout posts for my social media, for my postcards. I can do video, Instagram stories. It is amazing. Now there is a fee for this, but again, the quality and the way that I can create new posts that get notice allow me to be different. They allow me to be that red leather chair. And you know what? If you don't want to create those on your own, go to someplace like Fiverr and allow someone there to create it for you. I had this graphic created at Fiverr for $15. I didn't have time to do that, but I wanted something that I could have for my YouTube videos, and I showed you that when we were on my website. That's what appears on all of my videos, and then I just changed the title. But I want to be different. I want to create content that will allow me to do some things digitally and to be different. I love this program. It's called Flip Builder. And Flip Builder allows me to create a digital magazine. Now, I'm going to be working on this Friday and probably the next 2 or 3 weeks on my Business Tech Guy TV, showing you how to create your own homes magazine and be able to promote that on the internet. You can also embed videos and just do some amazing things. I want to tell you what, this tool right here has helped me get more high-end properties than you could ever imagine. I was on a website in Florida the other day. It was a luxury high-end website, and it was awful. I mean, here they are marketing these multi-million-dollar properties, and all they had was pictures and text. And I'm like, we're in a whole different world today. You ought to be having 3D video. You ought to be, 360 video. You ought to be having 3D layouts where I can walk through and at least have the ability for me to download the magazine to a mobile device. So think about how you can be different. This I just ran across and a friend was showing me, and I absolutely love it because it's more of an app for your website, for your phone. And what I like about this is that I keep track of the statistics on my website. Most of my consumers are visiting my website through my mobile phone. In fact, I used to be so concerned about what my website looked on my computer, and anymore I could care less what it looks like on the computer. I want to know, what does it look like on my mobile phone? People are searching, and I want to be different, and I want to be found. Now, the last thing I want to share with you, and we're getting close to wrapping up here, is that we need to repurpose our content. I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, and those folks really know how to repurpose content. And I've learned more from NSA to help me grow my real estate business, and repurposing is something you need to think about. So remember my domain name, getyourvaloan.com. Well, when I first ran that specific web domain, when you clicked on it, you actually went to a landing page. I use lead pages. And you actually went to a landing page. And from that landing page, you registered for the webinar. I then used Facebook advertising. And I said, hey, Facebook, I only want to run these ads in the feed for people who live in my zip code. Oh, and by the way, I'll do this zip code too, because I do some business in these two zip codes. And Facebook, could you just show me military, active, and non-active? And by the way, Facebook, I'd just like to have renters. Do you see how I was marketing my webinar to military who lived in my zip codes that I service and who are only renters? Big data, Facebook has that. I had 2 people show up for the webinar. That's great. Remember, I'm fishing. I would rather get 2 qualified VA buyers than having 30 different couples show up and want me to show them properties and they're not qualified. So we did the webinar. It was a huge success. And I've got this content that's on YouTube. And oh, by the way, I embedded it on my website that you just saw. So I got to thinking about repurposing. And I thought, what if I use iSkySoft? Remember that video app I showed you earlier? What if I pull that off of YouTube? So I go to YouTube, and using iSkySoft, I can download the video. Now I've got the video, and I'm able to put that right on my computer. So I open up a program called Camtasia. It's a video editing software. Any video editing program will do this. And I have my video from YouTube right there in front of you. If you right-click your mouse, you get some other options. One of the choices is separate video and audio. In other words, you can actually separate the video track and the audio track. Well, I don't need the video track. It's already on YouTube and it's already on my website. So I highlight the video track. I right-click my mouse, because we get these extra options whenever you right-click. And one of the options is delete. I'm going to get rid of the video. I don't need it. Now I have one track and it's only audio. I go up to share, export audio, and guess what? I save that and I now have a podcast. And I put that podcast on Podbean, and it goes to iTunes and Spotify and everywhere else in podcast land. And through Podbean, I now have my own podcast. And I'm telling you what, the numbers for my podcast are just, they beat YouTube by everything. It's huge. You got to have a podcast. And then you can run the audio through drag and dictation, or use Fiverr that I told you about, the where you hire people and have it transcribed, and it's now in a blog format. So now I have a YouTube video. I have the YouTube video on my website. I've created a podcast people can listen to in their car or when they're exercising. And I actually have also created a blog. And guess what? I can take little snippets and put on Twitter, and I can do some other things. And I can say, for the full episode, click on my Linktree bio. And when they click on the Linktree bio, it says, watch the video here. And when they click on the video, they can watch it for free. Or you could say, hey, I just need your name and email address, and I'll give you the link to the video. I'm just telling you that it's a whole new world, and there are tools out there that we can take and leverage and do some really cool things. People are searching. There are 100 billion of searches every month. 100 billion, that's with a B, every month. And you've got to be different. You really have to. You have to have some type of a strategy, and you've got to create a checklist, and you've got to be consistent. Consistency is the key, I think. So I've got a couple of things I want to wrap up before you log off, because I've got really something very important I want to share with you. So don't leave yet. And this will only take a couple of minutes, but this is the most important part. I want you to remember people need help. They really do. There are going to be a lot of buyers and sellers with questions after we come out of this coronavirus. And you and I can use some of these platforms to share that information and to provide that help. So I want you to think about a game plan, but more importantly, I don't want you to quit. You know, it was April 7th, 2007, and I told you I went to work for a bank. Maybe I bypassed that. There was a couple of things I can't remember. I've done so many of these, but basically the bank was on the watch list and I lost my job. I'd signed a non-compete clause. You know, things were just like thrown upside down. But here's what else happened on April 7th. First of all, my wife and I, you know, are running the blueberry blackberry farm, and it's kind of like what our lives were before the coronavirus. Things are just going okay, right? And then April 7th, 2007, 13 years ago yesterday, we had a late spring freeze and we lost our entire crop. Thought we had insurance. The adjuster said, if you look on page 3 down here on this third paragraph, true story, and basically didn't get hardly any money from the insurance company. I was lost my job because of the downturn in the economy, and the bank was on this thing called the watch list. I had a non-compete clause, and oh yeah, I'm $1 million in debt. And I really wanted to quit. I did. It's interesting. This is my keynote story that I talk about. And more importantly, rather than telling my trials and tribulations, I want you to know there's hope, okay? But I'm looking for a graphic for the word quit, and I found this on iStock Photo. I made no changes whatsoever to it. When I saw that, I thought, that's the day, the 7th is the day I wanted to quit, April 7th, 2007. But you know what? My dad said, you can't quit. And I always remembered that. And so I knew I had to bring and create this new canvas and draw this new picture and recreate myself. And we're all going to have to do that right now. But if we work hard, we can make some things happen. So it's 2009. I'm speaking full time. My wife and I had sold our home, the farm, and we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in LA, Lower Arnold, Missouri. That gets a great laugh in St. Louis, so I'm hoping you're laughing at home, okay? We moved to Lower Arnold, Missouri. We're in a 2-bedroom apartment. There's a guy that sings Elvis Presley songs on the other side of the wall. And they were none of the songs I liked. And so here we are, and I get this opportunity to speak in San Diego, California. There must be 700 or 800 people in the room. and I'm speaking, talking about technology, and they're looking at me like I have lost my mind. And I thought, I actually felt like a comedian who was telling jokes and no one was laughing. And I said to myself, John, keep your energy level up. You've got to keep going strong. And so I finished the presentation. I say to myself, they'll probably never ask me to speak again. And I noticed that a lot of people started getting in line to talk to me. And there were three men over on this side, and one guy came up real quick and got right next to me, and he said, "Can I get my picture taken with you?" in a broken kind of a French US accent. And they started taking my picture, and he said to me, "I'm bringing you to France to speak." And I jokingly said at the time, "Can I bring my wife?" And he said, "Yes, yes, bring your wife." Well, he calls me 2 weeks later, invites me to Nice, France to speak at a conference. My wife and I leave St. Louis International Airport, and I kid you not, all we had was $135 in our account. And we fly to France to speak, for me to speak at a conference. And this gentleman and I become very good friends. Now, I'm not telling you this story to brag or anything like that. I'm telling you this story for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want you to know you're always just one person away from someone who can change your life. And number two, there's always hope at the end of a situation when you're in a deep, dark pit, like all of us might feel like we're in. You know what? There's light at the end of the tunnel. And so here's a view from our apartment. He actually asked me and my wife to come and live in France. And the market in the US was horrible at that time. So we pick up, move to France, and that's a view of my apartment. I was just talking to my friend from France this morning. I was supposed to have been there right before the virus because I still go back and forth, and he and I are still very good friends. And this is a view from my apartment. And this is a book I was reading called Serendipity that morning from Marcus Bach. It's a book from the 1950s. And I read this statement and I think to myself, John Mayfield, you know, sometimes we're always trying to get to that goal at the end, aren't we? We have these goals and we're just rushing and rushing. And Marcus Bach reminded me on that day that what's going on right now in our lives is more important than anything at the end of the line. Any of those goals you have down there, the goals that are going on right now are more precious than anything you're trying to reach. And it taught me a lot about gratitude, really to be grateful. I spend a time in gratitude every day. And in fact, my last app I'll show you is called the 5-Minute Journal app. I love this app. I go and it allows you to add a photo, and I'll go through my photos and I have my head turned, and when they stop, I press a picture, and that's the picture that I'm grateful for that day. And then I go in and ask I tell the 5-Minute Journal what I'm grateful for, what I can do today to make today a great day. But it's so important for us to speak positive words right now and to be grateful. You know, I was on that call today, and I really wanted to stop the speaker, and he's a very good friend of mine, and say, it's not all gloom and doom. We're going to get through this. You know, it will be different, but let's don't be crying help. Let's remember there's hope. You know, I tell you my story with the technology because I want you to know I was at a point and I thought, how in the world will I ever get out of this situation? But you know what? Somehow I did. And I know it was through a positive attitude and speaking positive words and being grateful for all the things that I have going on in my life. So I just want to encourage you, be positive, speak positive words, and be grateful. And we're going to get through this together. If there's anything I can ever help you with, please reach out to me. There's never a charge for me to help you. unless you call me every day, and then I might have to. But no, I'm always here if you have questions or need help. I did record this session. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your group. And I want to just see very quickly if we have any questions out there. So I'm going to stop my screen share. And there's a few things in the chat. Does it only work for Apple products? Do you know an Android PC equivalent? I do know of a couple of those that, and I think if you search the Google Play Store, you can find those, but I'll be glad to try to help you with that. Which app are you talking about now, Zoom or Zillow? It was Zillow that I was talking about, and it's Zillow 3D if you search for that. Is it only in English? Which one was that, Julie? If you could help me. What was the magazine app you mentioned? That's called Flip Builder. Flip Builder. And I love it. There's another one out there called Flip Snack that I like. Well, thank you so much, Julie. I appreciate that kind words. Well, thank you all. I appreciate all the kind words. There was a couple of Q&As. Let's see. Yes, I did record this, and so you will be able to get that. Yes, thank you. Well, thanks so much, and I appreciate your kind comments and kind words. I hope our paths will cross in the future. Have a great day, and thank you again.